How's it going, everybody? My name's Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. I'm a mid-six-figure full-time Amazon seller, and in today's video I'm going to be breaking down exactly how much money it actually takes to get started selling on Amazon. Now, a lot of people will tell you that you have to have thousands and thousands of dollars to start selling on Amazon. That's simply just not the case. So I'm going to be showing you my personal favorite ways to start on an ultra-tight budget. As little as $500 you can get started selling on Amazon. So we're going to go ahead and jump into that. If you're new to selling on Amazon, or maybe you haven't checked out my completely free Discord server that's linked down below. There's over 13,000 people in there sharing all kinds of great free information. I would love to see you in there. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. So for this video, I'm going to be breaking down 3 different ways that I think you could approach starting out selling on Amazon. The first 2 ways are going to be about a $500 startup cost, and the last way is if you got a little bit more money, maybe $1,000 to $2,000, we're going to jump in with a little bit of a different method. But the first method, and probably my favorite method, if you are very, very tight on capital, maybe you only have $300, $400, $500, that's going to be to start selling used books on Amazon. And the 2 tools you're going to need to do that, I'm just going to be showing you the paid tools, how you're going to use them. Very roughly, and then if you want to kind of go on more, more detail, I'm going to be pointing at some videos that you can kind of go that way. So the first way is going to be selling used books on Amazon. You're going to need this app called Scout IQ, and essentially what it does, as you can see here, is it's a mobile app. It's going to sync up with a Bluetooth scanner. Or you can use the photo scanner icon here. That's just going to pull up on your phone. You can scan the barcodes. I would highly recommend getting a actual Bluetooth barcode scanner. The one that I like to use is called the Yo-Yo barcode scanner. So that is just $40. Let me see if I can pull it up here on their website. But you're just going to want to buy something that looks a little like, let me see if I can find it here. It's going to look like this one, like these handheld ones like this, just so you can go into the bookstores, have this in your hand, and just start firing away with Scout IQ. You're going to go to thrift stores, yard sales, library sales, anything like that. And the reason that this is such a great way to start if you're super limited on capital is because these books are going to cost 50 cents, $1, $2. And so it's just a lot easier to start up. You're going to be able to get a lot more nice inventory for a lot cheaper. And the nice part about that as well is you're going to make very cheap mistakes. Whereas if you try to jump in with something like private label or wholesale or even arbitrage to some degree, you're going to be spending tens, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on getting your inventory started up, especially if you're trucking across, or I guess not trucking across the ocean, boating across the ocean. That inventory is just going to be really expensive. That's why I definitely don't recommend starting in private label for any of you new sellers out there. I really like used books if you're super limited on capital. Another tool you're going to need is called Keepa. If you've done any research, you're probably familiar with Keepa, but it's just going to show you the sales rank. It's going to show you all kinds of great useful information. Looks like this is a relatively new book, so there's not a whole lot of information for us to see here, but it's going to show you all kinds of things like seasonality. So you can see here, this is a textbook, so we can already see how the textbook rush that's starting right now as people are going back to school. You can see how this sales rank is dropping. That's just one use case for tools like this when you're starting a used book business. The next way that I want to show you actually requires less paid tools, but you're going to have to spend more on inventory when you first start up. The reason that I recommend books, that's how I started. I started with about $1,500 when I started selling used books. So I had a decent amount of capital, maybe more than you are if you're looking to get started on a really tight budget. But you could absolutely do it with $500, and you're going to be able to flip $1, $2 into, at least $2 profits every time. Usually your profit is going to be between $5 to $10 a book that you're paying 50 cents, $1, maybe $2 for. So you can see how easy it is to grow that capital. But another way that I like to do it, maybe maybe you don't want to go out to thrift stores every day. Maybe you got bad knees or something and can't be walking around at thrift stores. I totally understand that. The next way that I'm going to recommend is doing manual, or it's called reverse manual sourcing. To do online arbitrage. And essentially what online arbitrage is where you buy products from websites like Walmart and Target and everything like that and flip it on Amazon. One great way to start doing that is by looking at a product that Walmart sell, or as a Walmart brand. This means that all the sellers on this listing are going to be buying stuff from Walmart, buying stuff from Target, and flipping it on Amazon, very similar to what you're doing. So we can go into one of these listings like this, and we can actually go ahead and check out one of the sellers sellers on this listing. So in this case, here's the guy who is currently getting the buy box. He's the option to be the add to cart option. We could look at his store. We could also go down here to the other new sellers. And from here we can see if we can, we can hunt for these just launched sellers. These people probably have very beginner friendly products. I personally prefer to look at sellers with a little bit of reviews and they're Amazon fulfilled. So this is a perfect example here. This store probably has a couple decent products that we can actually go in here and copy. And just see if we can find it for cheap enough. Generally, when we're looking at the lists like this, we're going to be looking for a product that we think we can buy it for about half of the cost that it's selling for. So in this case, this item, this Jiffy Pop 3-pack is selling for $14.40. So when I'm looking at this, I'm asking myself, can I buy this for $7.20? If I think I can, then I'll go ahead and start researching it. In this case, I might be able to, might not be able to. There's a full video on this manual sourcing method using just Keepa. That's going to be up here in that corner up there. But I'm just going to briefly run through it here. So we're looking at this item. It's selling for $14.40 from that one seller. So here's where the difficulty with this method comes in, is you have to look at the full listing. So on Keepa here, we can actually see that this product is selling for $11. But this seller is a little bit overpriced. And the way you can get around that to look at the full listing, see what it's actually selling for, is up here in the URL. Take out this REF and then search that, or you can also copy the ASIN up here and then paste that, but removing that REF and beyond is a little bit faster than searching the ASIN. The ASIN is just like a unique identifier for every item on Amazon. Every item has one. So in this case, it looks like this item's selling for $11.17. Probably not going to be able to buy this for $5. So we're going to keep scrolling through here. But I'm not going to make this a whole sourcing video. This is just how I would personally get started with online arbitrage if I was very limited on capital. $500, maybe $300 to $500, because your Keepa subscription is only going to be about $20 a month. And that would be the only subscription that you absolutely need right from the get-go. Later on, you could add in some new subscriptions and stuff like that, but you wouldn't need that right at the beginning. If you're curious about the additional softwares that I would recommend getting, right after you've sourced a little bit of product, you've figured out how to list it with Amazon Seller Central, you've got a little bit of sales under your belt. I generally say about $1,000 to $2,000 in sales over a 30-day period or so. Then I would go ahead and check out these two tools. First, I'm going to be looking at BeCool. Very simply, what BeCool does is it is a repricer for your items. So you're going to set it a minimum and a maximum price on every item, and then it's going to take some rules, and every 15 minutes it'll decide if you are the competitive price. If not, then it will change the prices to be within your boundaries, so you're not losing money. You've already told it the boundaries in which it can sit, but using this tool, it's going to automatically reprice your listings so that you're going to be able to capture sales more often, because you will have to reprice your stuff manually as prices go up and down. It's just natural on Amazon. You will have to do that manually right at the beginning, but this tool, very affordable. It's $25 a month. I would highly recommend it once you get a little bit of sales under your belt. If you're on a tight budget, if you're not on a very tight budget, then I would recommend getting this right from the get-go. And another tool you're going to want to invest in before too long in your business is Inventory Lab. And Inventory Lab essentially makes the workflow for sending items into Amazon much faster, but this tool is $50 a month, which is why I don't recommend it right at the beginning, especially if you're starting on a very small budget. You're going to want to get it, again, after $1,000, $2,000 a month in sales. You're going to see how much time it saves you, and then you're going to be able to spend more time finding more profitable inventory, and it'll just kind of snowball from there. The very last method that I want to show you is using two paid tools. I would say this is a better method if you have maybe $750, $1,000, $1,500 to spend right away. The reason that I even suggest having that much money to begin with is because you'll need a couple $100 at least in inventory invested just to really prove the concept to yourself, because that's what it's all about at the beginning, is proving it to yourself that you can do this. This business model really works. So So you're going to want to buy, $400, maybe $500 worth of inventory right when you first start, so that you can get a feel for it, get on a couple different products, see, maybe learn some lessons, making mistakes. But that's why I'd recommend starting with a couple $100, but that's mostly just to buy inventory. As far as paid tools go, Scout IQ is $40 a month and Keepa is $20 a month. And then if you're just starting out with bare bones online arbitrage, you're just going to need Keepa, that's $20 a month, and then spend the rest of that on inventory. And then you're going to be able to use some of those profits to pay off your softwares, and you can see how you're going to be able to add more softwares as you go along in your business. But the very last method that I want to kind of show off here is using two paid tools. We can actually use this example still here. It's a very similar sourcing method to what we did here, but we're going to be adding in a tool that's called SellerAmp that makes reverse sourcing much faster. It also has a lot of other great features. You can see it's got a fee calculator here. It estimates the monthly sales. A ton of useful information is on here, but you can use this to make your reverse sourcing a lot faster. The way you do that is by looking at the sellers on here. We can see all the sellers on here. I'm going to be doing kind of pretty much the same kind of method where I'm looking for a seller with not a ton of ratings, but they are FBA. So in this case, this guy has 230,000 ratings. This guy has sold millions and millions of dollars on Amazon. So I'm going to be passing on them, but this seller only has 37 ratings, which means a lot of the products they sell are going to be from everyday retail stores and websites. So I'm going to be checking this store out, and you're going to see it's going to take you somewhere slightly different. That's because it takes you to the SellerAmp web app. And from here, we're going to be able to do a very similar process we did here, but it's going to be much faster because we're able to look at all kinds of different information. So this max cost bar here is super useful. This is where before I was wondering if I can buy it for about half price, then I'll be happy with the profits. But this is going to actually go ahead and calculate what you would need to get a 35% return on investment. And then you can kind of eyeball this and say, these two bigger things of salt, I bet I can't buy them for $252. I'm going to keep going. Another thing you can look at here is looking at the Keepa charts over here, and this is going to help you read information a lot faster. If you want a more in-depth guide on sourcing using this Chrome extension, you can go ahead and check out the video that's going to be up in that corner up in there. That'll walk you through that process a lot faster. But I just wanted to briefly run you through the tools that you would need to actually get started on Amazon. And a lot of people will tell you need a ton of money to start selling on Amazon. But you just don't. A lot of people will try to sell you really expensive courses on how to create your own product and your own branding and all that kind of stuff, when really you should just start out by selling name brand stuff, already has demand. You can buy it from Walmart and start your Amazon business from there. You'll get tons of experience that'll be very useful when you want to expand into the more advanced business models like wholesale, private label. But to answer the question, you can absolutely start an Amazon business with $500. It's really not hard, and these are the tools you need to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got a ton of value out of it. If you did, please feel free to add some value to my business and hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate that. Feel free to drop any questions, comments, anything like that you have down below. I'm always happy to answer those. But I really appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.